Morning folks, welcome back to the channel. So, no prizes for guessing where we are again this morning. So, we've got a 24-hour session at the Tarn. So, I'm going to fish two rods basically over one spot. So I've got a nice mix of lake pellet, corn, hemp and a bit of DNA beta stim liquid. So I've mixed up a bucket of that and I'm going to spod that. I'm going to try find a fairly hard spot with the lead, probably between 14 and 18 wraps, something reasonably comfortable. It's a little bit windy. And then I'm going to fish a solid, well, two rigs over that, and then I'm going to fish a solid bag on the third rod. I'm just trying to decide where to fish. So we've got this southerly wind coming in. This is peg 22. It's coming pretty much straight across the lake over here, but it is forecast later on to swing westerly, which will go straight down the airport end. So I've not seen a fish. I've seen one of the boys getting knocked, probably opposite peg. What will it be, 32, 33, that sort of area, which is quite shallow, which I think might be good for a couple of bites during the day. But I am here for 24 hours, so I think I want to be in slightly deeper water to give myself a chance of a few bites when it gets cooler this evening. So just having a wander around, seeing if we can find a spot, and then yeah, we've got a plan to catch some spodding and PVA bagging. So keep posted, let's see how we get on. Right folks, I've decided on peg 39, so just to the left hand side of the island as you look at it. I've fished this peg before, big fan of it, it's a good peg. The wind is currently just swinging back round to the west, so it's going to come more down into this corner a little bit later, so pretty confident we're gonna get some fish here. So it allows me also to chuck to that buoy, which is a place where I've seen some fish this morning knocking around that buoy. So I'll walk down to there's nobody else on the lake, so I can walk down to peg probably 35, chuck it towards that buoy. Not too close because they're horrible underneath, there's loads of rubbish underneath, so I can chuck one there and then I can get my main baited area to the left of the island there, probably, like I say, 16, 18 wraps. Right folks, so top tips for spodding. Tip number one, have the right gear that you can trust in. So I've got a 4.5 pound test curve, 12 foot Daiwa Black Widow. It's not a mega expensive rod, and about 55 quid, but it can really take some punishment. And then like equally, you've got to have a reel that you can trust as well. So again, not the most expensive reel on the market. This is an Akuma custom spod. This came with £20 braided line already on there for about 50 quid as well. So for just over 100 quid, you've got a decent setup that'll chuck you a very long way. Right, tip number two, and trust me, this will save you a lot of heartache. So make sure that your line is always wet, your braided line. So I'm just going to here, got a bait box, I'm just going to pour some water on the braid. So that just keeps everything nice and damp, and it ensures that you're much less likely to get wind knots, because they are the bane of any spodder's life. Keep the braid wet. Tip number three, use a shock leader. So hopefully you can see there, got a 50-pound shock leader tied onto the braid. So I've got about 18 foot of the 50-pound braid, and to one end I've attached it to the main line with an Albright knot. I'll trim those tag ends off, I'm just trying to demonstrate so you can see the difference in the thickness. And then on the other end I've got a loop. So I've just tied a double loop with a tiny loop on the tag end, so it's really quick and easy to move it from a marker lead to a spod. So really simple swapping between the two, loads of strength and loads of confidence in that end of the rig. So that's how you set it up. Right, tip number four is always use a finger stall. So these just protect your trigger finger, if you like. So simply wrap around your wrist, bit of velcro, and just protect that finger, which you can imagine is the one that we strap in the braid, so stops you getting your finger cut or the end of your finger ripped off. So really important. So tip number five is always stand in exactly the same place and aim at the same far bank marker. So your rod will be clipped up to whatever distance you want to fish to, either you found a feature or distance you're comfortable with. Stand in the same spot, aim at a far bank marker, and always try and have the same amount of line between your rod tip and your spod, and then a nice smooth action to punch it out and make sure you hit the clip. So take some practice. You're not going to be good at this kind of straight off the bat, but practice makes, not quite perfect, but practice makes better. I'm no expert, but it's a great skill to have in the armoury. So let's get some bait out. Right, we're going to start off with about 20 spombs in here. Got some lake pellet, got a kilo of corn, probably got a kilo of spicy fish boilies, and I even found a tin of chili hemp, which I chucked in for good measure. So a real good mixture. Probably give them 20 to 25 spombs across 2 rods at 18 wraps. And then yeah, we'll see where we go. If we start getting a few bites, we'll top up, or we'll certainly be topping up before the evening. So let's get some of this out there. Another tip for you, try keep that rod tip in the same place or position of the rod when you hit the clip, and then you know if it's up here or down there, you've probably got 10 or 12 foot difference between where the spomb's landing. So try and keep the rod cast out, rod in the same place, and then it'll hit exactly the same spot. Let's keep going. You fill this up with fish food and you cast it in, and eventually when I get my other rods out, I'll cast my rod over the top of there. But hopefully they'll all be sat there eating all this one.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Fish, yeah. So we'll try. Right folks, it's 5 o'clock. Been fishing for about 5 hours. Not had a fish, obviously, otherwise you'd have been the first to know. So I've refreshed the baited spots. I've put another 10 spombs worth of bait over that spot and recast the rods. Baits look great. We're not getting battered by the crays, which is great. So we're going to keep running with those 2 rods, and then I'm going to reposition the right hand rod. So the weather's a bit hit and miss. We just had a massive, really mega cloud burst come over us, but the wind seems to have changed kind of following that front. So now the wind is westerly, which is blowing right up this end. So this is what the forecast said was going to happen and what I hoped was going to happen. So we've got close to 5 hours of daylight left. So I'm hoping the fish actually get on the back of this wind as a new wind, and follow it up to this area and find 30 spombs worth of delicious particles, boilies and pellets, and get on the munch. So that's the plan. Still pretty quiet on the lake. There's a guy and his son dropped on peg 32. They've not had anything yet, but pretty quiet. But we are confident and we're going to keep going. Right folks, good morning. It's Wednesday. I suppose how to describe this session would be a reverse Carlsberg session. So if Carlsberg didn't do fishing sessions, this would be it. So what's gone wrong? So I realised last night when I was just about to cook my tea that my gas canister was faulty. I couldn't get my stove going, so I've not had anything to eat. Then I started to pour it down about 8 o'clock, and then I found a small hole in my bivvy. So I've been dripped on for the majority of the night. What else have we done? Then I've snapped the leg off my bivvy table this morning. So yeah, somehow my little legs come off there. So that's a bit of expense that we need to sort out. And to cap it off, we've not managed to catch a fish yet. So not the best of sessions, but we're still going. We've got another 3 hours. I've actually seen a fish this morning, a little bit shorter than the baited area. So I've just quickly retied a PVA bag and just chucked that out. It's probably about 8 wraps, something like that. So chucked one at a showing fish. So we'll see if we can snare one in the next 2 or 3 hours before we've got to pack up and go home. So we're still smiling. Right folks, well we're just about to start packing up. It's about 11 o'clock on Wednesday, no more action. Did have that funny sort of dropped run about half an hour ago. Not sure what that was. Bobbin pulled to the top and was sort of sat there, lifted the rod up, felt a tiny bit of resistance and then it came off. So I think it's probably a crayfish because the hook was blunt when I brought it in as well. So no action. Like I say, the channel's all about sharing the good, the bad and the ugly, and this is definitely ugly. But hopefully you've picked up a few pointers around spod fishing and you'll give it a whirl the next time you're out and about, and even up at the Tarn. I'm heading up to Sam Dale's place called The Lodge at Boroughbridge tomorrow with the boys. So I've got my eldest with me for 2 nights, youngest is coming up for 1 night, so we've got 3 nights up there. It's an exclusive hire lake. It's about 1 acre with 1 cabin on it, about 120, 130 carp to go at. I believe to low 20s, and there's some catfishing there, so we've got 3 days on there, so fingers crossed I can redeem myself and pull my finger out and catch some fish. So until next time, tight lines.